Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. As always, Joe Scurto here, your host, and we are breaking down the New York Jets 2024 draft class. You may say, hey, it's happened like 2.5 weeks ago. I am aware of that. It's pretty funny. I wanted to do a mock draft on Wednesday. Yeah, I had zero voice. I did not have a voice. And that lasted for a few days. It was absolutely terrible. And then after the Jets draft, I thought, yeah, maybe I'd do a video now. But I feel like my analysis and my reaction and my initial reaction, just everyone's initial reaction is pretty irrelevant because people are set on guys that they really want. And then you get another player without even looking into them. And this is not me personally, but I just feel like this is the overall view of the NFL draft without even looking into them and looking at the roster as a whole now after the draft and be like, hey, him in there, it's actually a big need. You know, that actually helps the Jets, right? That actually helps your team. And that's how I felt about this draft class. Overall, I really liked it. I liked Joe Douglas, what he did. I liked how aggressive he was in terms of trading up and trading back. He literally traded his first, I think, 5 or 6 picks in a row. Pretty insane. Trader Joe was in full effect. So I just wanted to quickly break down these players, maybe throw a grade on them, and then go from there. And be on the lookout. The New York Jets schedule is coming out. I will be making a video breaking down the schedule as well, giving my reactions. So pick number 1, Olu Fashanu, left tackle out of Penn State. So I know a lot of people wanted Brock Bowers. The last video I made, I said if Olu was there at 10, you grab him and you don't even think twice about it. So I love this pick. I mean, this is an A pick for me. This is easy. I was not one of the Bauer boys that you call it on Jets social media. I was not one of those guys. If they got Brock Bowers, was I going to be mad? No. But in hindsight, you know, everyone has, I don't know. Everyone has their right to their opinion, right? And usually, I would say usually, outside of Sam Laporta last year, a rookie tight end does not have immediate impact either. Let me know the last rookie tight end other than Sam Laporta that legitimately had immediate impact. I'll wait. I mean, there really wasn't many. You might have to date all the way back to like Gronk's rookie year after Laporta. And I think everyone was just in the Laporta effect and thinking, oh, yeah, the Jets could use Sam Laporta. No shit. But who's going to say that Bowers is going to have that immediate impact? So for people saying, you know, a backup for their first pick is stupid in a win now situation, I really, you know, respectfully disagree on that narrative. I mean, the Jets need all the depth that they can get on the offensive line. Like, do we remember what happened last year? Do we remember? We had third strings and we had practice squad guys getting activated and starting on Sundays. I mean, I don't know if we forgot about that. I'm fine with the tight end room. I really am. Conklin's a 500 to 600 yard tight end who is going to make a bigger impact now that he has a pro quarterback thrown to him. I mean, he had 3 guys out of the league. Simeon won't be in a roster. Boyle won't be in a roster. Heck, he even had Strevler 2 years ago, not on a roster. And then Zach Wilson, who's going to be a third string quarterback in a very poor Broncos room. So what are we doing here? And Jeremy Rucker was a guy who was a fan favorite. Everyone loved Jeremy Rucker, but then once they saw Bauer, it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm fine with Rucker too. Are these guys totally proven? No, I think Conklin, obviously more so than Rucker, not even close, but I think Conklin, you can say he's almost a proven tight end. You look at the statistics. They're not terrible. They're not terrible. Yes, he doesn't score touchdowns. No shit. Nobody has scored touchdowns in a Zach Wilson-led offense the last couple of years. It's just the narrative. I mean, Garrett Wilson only has 7 career touchdowns, 3 last year, 4 the year before. So for me, Fashanu is a very valuable asset to this team because you have 30-plus-year-olds at the tackle position. You have a future Hall of Famer, All-Pro in Tyron Smith, at the left side and Morgan Moses on the right side, who battled injuries as well last year. Both of these guys battled injuries last season. Morgan Moses more so being towards the end. You're not screwed now if these guys get hurt. Like, there's no Carter Warren right away. There's no, there's none of that. You won't have to just throw these guys in and hope for the best, right? Now you have a legitimate, maybe, he hasn't played a snap yet, so you can't call him legitimate, but now you have a, I guess, high praise prospect in Vashanu, who hopes to be the future of this offensive line, who hopes to be the future left tackle for this offensive line. I'm just looking up, just look at the Jets, just how bad their offensive line was last year. And the Max Mitchell was the name I was kind of blanking on, but Wes Schweitzer, he played a little guard tackle. Xavier Newman was everywhere. I mean, this offensive line was terrible last year, and these guys are coming back, which is nice, but they won't have to be implemented as the backup right away if they get screwed with Smith or Moses being injured. So this is huge for the Jets. The Jets having some insurance of their offensive line, and I think that's massive. And you can never get enough offensive linemen. That is a fact. The Jets have seen it firsthand the last couple of years, especially last season. I mean, you could say how bad the quarterback play was, but the offensive line was arguably as bad or worse. They were ranked 32 basically in every category there is in terms of offensive line units. I mean, they were just that bad. They were playing guys that were drafted in the 5th round as rookies, and then Max Mitchell coming off a serious condition as a rookie coming in as a second-year player. These guys would have to be relied upon to start legitimate games. And none of these guys really stepped up. Besides like Tippmann, of course, who I think is a legitimate center in this league, and I think he's proved it. But you talk about all the moves they did in the offensive line in the free agency. He just put the exclamation mark with Olu. So that's an A for me. I don't think there's much more to say. Like, this is a great move. Is it sexy? No, but you won't be bitching about Brock Bowers when the Jets have a week 7 game and one of their offensive linemen are hurt. That's just the reality here in this situation. One of these offensive linemen are going to get hurt. Do I want them to? Hell no. I don't want to suffer with injuries anymore. The Jets have dealt with that. I mean, heck, they got a brand new medical staff. They basically fired everybody, brought in a new staff because of the just misery in terms of injuries, especially over the last couple of years. But you won't be complaining when Olu is implemented in the lineup. He's going to play. Like, he's not a backup. He is going to play. So that's kind of my mark on it. Malachi Corley in the 3rd round to get him in the first pick. By the way, obviously, we know the Jets traded 10 to 11, so they basically got free picks because we knew the Vikings were going to get J.J. McCarthy. The Jets trade up and use that ammo to get Malachi Corley. Supposedly, they wanted him the entire 2nd round. They really liked him and Roman Wilson out of Michigan. Those were the 2 guys they were targeting, and they end up getting Malachi Corley. They couldn't get into the 2nd round because moving back to where they were in the 3rd round was just pretty too steep for most teams. But with the Panthers, it was no brainer. They were inside the round. They were in the 3rd round, first pick, and they were able to pull off a deal. Shout out to Trader Joe. Western Kentucky native. He's a guy from a little town in Kentucky. He was never he wasn't that 5-star recruit. But receivers not named Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roman Duze. He had the most yards. He had the 4th most yards accumulated receiving yards, I think, over the last 2 years. Behind those 3 guys who, by the way, went number 4, number 6, and number 9 in the draft. Pretty impressive for a guy from Western Kentucky. And I don't really care about the competition. I think people can complain about that, but the way he gets his yards is more impressive to me. He calls himself the Yak King. And if you put his film on, you know why. The dude is a beast. I hate the Debo Samuel comparison. Not that I hate that comparison. I would love if that happened, but it's just, can we just let him be Malachi Corley and settle in? He is a violent runner. He is a big playmaker. Maybe needs a little more, I guess, teaching in regards to his routes and polishing his routes and running legitimate NFL routes. But that's something what NFL coaching can do. You know, and you know, the Jets obviously bring Sean Jefferson back, highly touted wide receiver coach. I like that mix there. So with Malachi, I think this was a move that you had to be excited about. I'd give it a solid B plus. Roman Wilson was a guy who I really wanted as well. But it looked like the Jets knew they wanted Malachi all along. Like they knew it after day one. So I love that they got their guy. They stuck with their guy. They tried to trade up to get their guy. They couldn't. He fell to them. Now he's a New York Jet. And it kind of had same thing happened with Jermaine Johnson. You know, they had to trade back in. And they got him. The rest is history, right? Jermaine Johnson's a pretty good player. So for me, this is a solid B. Could be up to a B plus. I just don't know what his exact role is going to be in this offense. Of course, he's probably going to be, I would say, more that 3. He did say that, you know, he played primarily in the slot, but in high school, he played all over the place. And I know that's in high school, but he can play the outside. I know he can. And because I think they like Garrett in the inside at times as well. It seemed like even last year, he was maybe even more effective in the slot position for Garrett Wilson last year, especially those big explosive plays that he had. You know, mainly that Dallas Cowboys play that he took it to the house for like 70 yards. But it's going to be interesting how they use him. He's obviously automatically the third best receiver in their room. You know, you got to put him over Gibson. You got to put him over Lazard. That's just kind of how I feel about it. He's going to be a different type of playmaker that they don't have in the receiving room. Like Wilson is like this polished receiver, a really good route runner, can make that spectacular catch. And he's just a playmaker, right? Mike Williams, the big body guy, you can just throw and he'll go get it. And Malachi Corley is a guy that you can just throw maybe 5 yards. He might break it to the house. He's that fast, he's that athletic, and he's that strong. So I really like this pick too. And they kept it going in the 4th round with Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin. A bit of a down year last year, but that's like high 900 yards. And they changed their offense to more of the spread formation. 2 years ago, they were in an NFL type offense, had double-digit touchdowns, had over 1,000 yards. And he's also one of the best runners after contact. He is a big boy. If you see him, he's a pure specimen. Really like this pick too. I'll give it a B minus because I didn't like it more than the Corley pick. But this was the running back that I wanted. This was, you know, looking at the board. This was the guy who I actually got really excited when they drafted him. He's going to complement Breece really well. I think he's going to have immediate impact, even though I said Izzy was going to have immediate impact last year. Scratch that. He may be the 3rd or 4th running back here. I just think Allen will fit what they're looking for. Remember, you know, Rodgers had a guy in Aaron Jones who was a really good runner and a really good pass catcher. And when they needed to change of pace, they go to a big body A.J. Dillon, and it worked in Green Bay for them. And this is very similar. Braylon Allen is a big ass dude. He is a compliment, I would say, to an A.J. Dillon. And, you know, once he kind of acclimates to things and gets, you know, back to that pro offense and knows the playbook, I think this dude is going to be a pretty damn good number 2 behind a really good Breece Hall, who arguably could be a top 3 running back this year. Jordan Travis, I know this is probably one of the most popular picks in the draft, quarterback out of Florida State. Did I say Braylon Allen was from Wisconsin? I don't remember. I might have. ADD. But Jordan Travis, this was interesting. This was another pick like, whoa, I love that. This was a guy who borderline could have won a Heisman. This was the guy borderline that people thought he was going to take his team to the national championship. 20 touchdowns, 2 picks. Blows his leg out. Boom, done. He went from a 1st to a 2nd round type of guy all the way to the 5th round. And let's be honest, I think if guys like Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy, no disrespect to them, but them getting reached on with the hype of the quarterbacks, Travis would have absolutely been in that mix. And I really think with this particular draft class and with all the QB happy teams, he would have been a first round pick. I do think maybe late. He could have been after those guys, but who knows? He could have won the Heisman. He was on his way to, and just an unfortunate injury, and he's in the best situation possible. He's behind Aaron Rodgers, and he's behind Tyrod Taylor. Some say he may learn more from Tyrod Taylor because their styles are similar, but regardless, you got a top 10 quarterback of all time, maybe even better, and Tyrod Taylor, a very well-respected guy, one of the best backups, if not the best backup in the NFL. That's where he's going into. Not going to have to be asked to do anything. Learn kind of the ins and outs of the NFL through being on the practice squad, through being on the scout team and going against that Jets defense. It's going to be a perfect fit for him. We might not see him for 2 years, and I think we all hope we don't see him for 2 years. I mean, that's best case scenario. That means everything kind of worked itself out. So for this, I give it a B. I do. I give it another solid B. Just because of the need, a young rookie. Now you got it. You got Aaron Rodgers, you got a good veteran backup, and you pair him up with the rookie. That's exactly, I think, what everyone wanted. Everyone wanted them to get a veteran backup and draft a rookie quarterback, and Joe Douglas nailed it. But he had 3 fifth rounds. He uses the second one on another running back, Isaiah Davis. This was probably the biggest head scratcher. This dude, no disrespect, a specimen too. Look at him. He's huge. He's a big-ass dude as well. Very good after the contact. He had a ridiculous season, I think over 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns at South Dakota State. But why another running back? I don't know. I scratched my head with that one. I still don't know. I'm going to give it like a C-. No disrespect for Davis, but it just wasn't a need. And they might have really loved him. And my theory is they had Davis and Allen right there. And they couldn't decide. They picked Allen. And then Davis fell a whole nother round after that. And then they're saying, hey, we have to grab him. It is another playmaker. So I'm not complaining, but you could have added some insurance in the secondary, which they do later in the draft, but you could have added a higher prospect there. You could have added another defensive lineman if you really wanted to, an offensive lineman if you really wanted to. Heck, if you wanted Bowers, you could have added another tight end, another receiver. You could have added a lot. Instead, you add another running back. So now they got 4 young running backs, a third-year player in Breece, a 2-year player in Izzy, and then a first-year player in Allen and Davis. So that's an interesting running back room. I don't know the immediate impact that Davis will have. I think it's going to be more Izzy-like. I think Allen's going to be the number 2, as I kind of stated before. And this is just, let's wait and see before we knock it. Next pick after that, Quantez Stigers, the CFL native at the Agronauts. Crazy story. I mean, I don't really have to explain his story, but I will a little bit, I guess. I'm sure everybody knows that this guy literally was going to go to a low-tier college. Stuff happened within his family. His dad tragically passed away in 2020 in a car accident, just the worst year in the universe. And he stayed home. He battled with mental health issues. And then finally realized, he's got to move forward. So he started doing like DoorDash and like Uber and all of that just to make money on the side. His mom finds the Fan Football League. He goes in there. I believe he said he got an interception or pick 6 the first game that he was there. He caught scouts' eyes rather in the CFL, goes to the Agronauts after that, was the rookie of the year, 5 touchdowns this year, and then he was still eligible for the draft. So the first player ever to be drafted in the NFL draft that did not attend college. Insane. I can't say I know a lot about him. You look at his film, you love it. The CFL, he's playing with adults too. Like, these are grown men. These are some are former NFL players, NFL quarterbacks, as my microphone thing is about to fall off. So, this is a solid pickup, C+. You add depth. You obviously have 3 great corners in Sauce and DJ and Michael Carter II. Adding him to that room, can't complain. I like it. And lastly, it's the Mr. Irrelevant pick. The Jets wanted that pick. Show off those nice unis. Jalen Key, Alabama, SEC guy. I don't really have a grade for him. He's Mr. Irrelevant. I like the position they went with. So, I give that a C- too. Maybe D+. I mean, he was the last pick of the draft. I'm not going to get too excited, but an SEC guy, I believe he was from, it was either UAB or UTEP, or someone correct me in the comments. Didn't come prepared with that one, but he worked his way up to go to Alabama. So that just shows the character he is. It's not like he was a 5-star recruit and went right to Alabama. He transferred to from a lower tier school, got real minutes. And I think this is a guy who's great in that room as well, to add with, Tony Adams and Chuck Clark and Ashton Davis. It fills a need. But anyway, I'm going to stop blabbering. I can't really talk much about the last couple picks. Overall, I'm happy with this Jets draft. Especially a few weeks later. I think they filled the needs. The running back is still a head scratcher, but you just got to like what Joe Douglas has been doing. Anyway, appreciate watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like the video if you actually liked it. You can follow me on Instagram and on X at Turn Up the Jets. All one word. Schedule release video coming out. It actually is, because I do not expect to lose my voice this time. So we'll see you next time. See ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jet, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight.